To me, the intellect is a kind of a very small system within a much larger context. As Ramakrishna said, it's a wonderful servant, but it's a lousy master.
Without a global revolution in the sphere of human consciousness, nothing will change for the better in the sphere of our being. And that's exactly what happened in the 60s. A historically irreversible process started. It goes way back in all of human history. But something did happen in the 60s that was prepared for by doors of perception, that was prepared for by the beats in the 50s. And that was the deeper part of the shift that happened then, which I think is the most fundamental shift, which was the shift in our perception of reality. That what happened to us was what I think Einstein did to Newton. It went from treating a reality as absolute to seeing that all realities are relative. And this is a moment when changing from absolute reality to relative reality is a tremendous opportunity for growth. Now it's up to each individual one of us. The way Gandhi said, "My life is my message."
George Orwell in 1984 refers to Big Brother as this sort of, one gets the sense that the game is that he's this loving tyrant, or at least his people believe that all of the cruelties are done out of some kind of a benevolence. And it seems to me that there's a longing that people have for perhaps a benevolent tyrant who will come in and straighten things out for us. Dostoevsky spoke about how people long to take their freedom and lay it at the feet of a benevolent church that might act in a tyrannical way.
Yeah. I think the deeper issue is whether the universe is benevolent or not. Because we all see that when you invest in an institution or another person, you are investing external to your own deepest inner truth. And you've constantly got to be running that back against your inner truth. You can't just join a club and then say, "I surrender to the club." Like the whole misconception of a guru is that you surrender to a person. You only surrender to that which is the truth, where God, Guru, and Self are one and the same thing. So when you surrender that way, you're surrendering that way at the same time. I could never imagine surrendering to something that would invalidate my intuitive wisdom. And as long as you keep connecting to that, but the question of whether or not, then you know, that you don't have to judge whether it's benevolent or malevolent, you just judge, is this harmonious with my inner being? I don't have to judge you, I just have to keep my own game on a straight path. To me, the intellect is a kind of a very small system within a much larger context, and to deny the context in which the intellect functions is to leave one little segment of nature trying to subsume everything under it. What it also does is it makes the whole world object. The intellect makes the world object, because it's all you always think about things. And that always puts you one thought away from where it is. So you're always an alien in your own universe when you mediate everything through your intellect. So the fun is to have your intellect, as Ramakrishna said, it's a wonderful servant, but it's a lousy master. And I think that's probably true. He who knows not that the Prince of Darkness is but the other face of the King of Light knows not me. That's the one. It's interesting that all these religions, in our Western sense, I mean Christianity and Judaism and Islam, are really monotheistic. They believe in the one, like Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. And yet, they always live within the two. It's like, it's all one, it's one except for me, or except for us. And so we end up mea culpaing ourselves. Because it's chutzpah in exoteric Western religions to think that you are one with the one. We say it's all one, but we don't really act as if it were all one. See, religions do provide exquisite practices to get deeper into the spirit. The problem is that every practice is entrapping. I don't care whether it's meditation or Catholicism or the Torah or drugs or whatever, yoga or whatever it is, they're all traps. And the game of method is that you've got to use the trap and risk being entrapped with the expectation that it will self-destruct if it really works. Mm-hmm. The problem is, if it really self-destructs, the whole priest class is out of business in institutional religion. Yeah. So that the game has a funny kind of top, a false top on it, because it's any institution that starts to have salaries and institutional structures and all that immediately can't self-destruct. It's not designed that way. The use of serving somebody to transcend the dualism between the server and the served. I mean, I'm talking about it as a very precise method of enlightenment, of serving where there is no server. Because the Bhagavad Gita says, be not identified with being the actor, and be not attached to the fruits of the action. But still you do it. Now, how do you help somebody where you're not attached to how it comes out, and you're not busy being the helper? That's the art form. Then you're just doing what you're doing because you're doing what you're doing. You are the help. You're not the helper. You're the help. And who's getting helped remains open to question. If you're not getting helped by being a helper, forget it. You must be standing in the wrong place. An individual who will kill somebody because that individual feels they have the right way or the only way, already their mind has made another person them. So what they're saying is they're going to kill all the thems. Well, there are two ways to kill the thems. One is you go, with a machine gun. And the other is you extricate yourself from a world of us and them in your own mind. And then you've killed all the thems, and there's only us left. The guy's in Guatemala, and one of the women, these women, widows, whose husbands have been murdered before their eyes, one of these women said to me through a translator, "Thank you so much for leaving your home and family to come to help us." And I just opened to it, and I said, I didn't. You're my home and family. I mean, who's leaving what? And I felt that, the truth of that at the moment. Because she was defining it in terms of that she was them. But I didn't see her as them. She was us. And that's part of the excitement of being willing to risk in service, seeing the beloved in all the forms and seeing yourself in all the forms, instead of averting your eyes from pain and suffering, to turn around and embrace it into yourself without being afraid you're going to be drowned by it. Because you know you can say no without closing your heart. You learn how to keep your heart open in hell. You see the horrible beauty of the universe. I remember once I was teaching down at Big Sur at Esalen, and they gave me a house to house sit, and it came with a cat, and the cat and I became buddies, and every day the cat would come in when I was meditating in the morning and bring in its morning breakfast, which was a lizard or something, which was usually still alive, and it would sit down between my legs to eat, to be with me. And I would be sitting there being with God, and I'd hear squeak, squeak, crunch, crunch, and I didn't know who to hate. I mean, I loved the cat, but suddenly the cat was a killer. And I loved the lizard because I identified with the, and I went through all the changes, and I saw it is the phenomena of nature. You've got to be able to look at it all and say, yes, I acknowledge it. I can understand the term suffering is grace. I can't live it. I can live it at moments with little sufferings. But I can understand that there is a beautiful unfolding of awareness through suffering. You and I have a unique predicament, karmic predicament, that we were born in this time, in this place, with these potentials, these opportunities. I'm not sure all people have the same game in life. I'm not sure that I have to be just like everybody else.
Freud describes us as second chakra people. Adler describes us as third chakra people. Jung describes us as fourth chakra people. Teilhard de Chardin, people like that start to describe us in sixth chakra terms.
The Egyptians describe us in 6 chakra terms. Most of us are functioning at many of these levels. We have moments of 4th chakra, we have dominant 3rd or dominant 2nd, we have moments of 6th, and our job, as we see it, we are in an evolutionary process of slowly moving up the spine, moving up these chakras, so that more and more of the energy and habits and whole way of life get localized in one chakra rather than another. That is, you do the survival thing till you got survival in order. You do the sex thing until you got the sex thing in harmony. You do the power thing till you get the power thing in harmony. You do compassion until that's in harmony. And you just keep moving through center after center after center and building models of who you are in terms of each of these new levels. Like Golding's Lord of the Flies is a beautiful example of when the kids are left alone, they go back into 1st chakra. Straight 1st chakra story. Now, if they all go through pubescence, then it'll become a straight 2nd chakra story. Not because they, just because they're now, something's happened inside of them and they're ready for the 2nd chakra. Then they build an organized structure, an environment, an organization, and then they elect a president, and then pretty soon they're in a 3rd chakra trip. And then when they use up worldliness, they start to be interested in 4th chakra. And so you can see man is just an unfolding process of these chakras. And the chakras are right inside your own body. Your tuning device are your own chakras. So that as you tune in to each new chakra in your body, you tune in to a whole new universe, a whole new level of perceiving how it all is.